I had been locked up for about 10 years flat when I found out that I finally made parole. I got a positive parole answer. That parole answer wasn't a, hey, guess what? You made parole. You're going home right away. No, it was, hey, you made parole, but before we let you go home, you have to do this 6-month in prison program on another unit. So that means that you have to wait months to pull chain or transfer to the new unit, and then you have to go through the program, and then you have your last day from there. But when I read this question, I thought about the unit that I had spent the most time on, years and years on, in Gatesville, Texas, the Dr. Lane Murray unit, where I made bonds and connections with women that are life lasting. That unit. So I find out I make parole, and I hunker down. Like, I'm not going out to the chow hall. I'm only going to commissary. I'm eating out of my box. I'm not going to church services. I request a job change so that I can work inside of my dorm, which is not a great job, cleaning toilets and dirty showers for 102 women. But I knew I was less likely to get in any kind of altercation or trouble. And when I say that, I don't mean with other people that are incarcerated. I mean with the law. So I know I can just stay in my little bubble and ride it out, because you can make parole and get a disciplinary case and they will keep you in prison. Believe that. They will take that parole answer back. So anyways, I hunker down. The way that you know you're leaving to the transfer unit is after bed book count at about 10:30 at night. Everybody's going to sleep. The officer will come around and be like, hey, you're on chain tomorrow. Time to pack up. And so every night after I made parole, I'm like sitting in my bed, wide-eyed, waiting for the officer to come by. And for 3 months, I was not on chain. And then one night I was. So the officer packs up my belongings, and I go back to go to bed, and I wait for the officer to leave, and I have to make my rounds to tell the girls in the dorm that I'm leaving in the morning, because you leave very early, like at 5:15 or 5 a.m. in the morning. So I wanted to say my goodbyes, and there were several people in that dorm. I had a play daughter in there, and several people that I was very close and connected to, and I just made my rounds. I passed out the stuff that I was not taking home. I took home or take to the other unit. The only thing I took to the other unit were like clothing and hygiene items. All my stuff, old cooking bowls, spoons, certain mugs, some of my clothes, some of old commissary bags, these kind of things that we had held on to for so long. I start distributing that to the people that I had promised them to. And one of my good friends who is doing a life sentence, and she's not coming home, I remember she was asleep, and I went and snuck in her cubicle, which is against the rules, but it was a risk I was willing to take to tell her goodbye. And I remember I sat down in her bed and she was asleep, and I rubbed her back, and I'm like, hey, Scorpio, I'm leaving. I'm leaving in the morning. And I just hugged her and loved on her, and I knew that was maybe like the last time I was going to see her, you know. So yeah, it was bittersweet. It was bittersweet leaving that dorm.